Dave.
Nick, you're
Hey.
so far away. You might have to shout. I can't hear
Well,
you.
you know, we're talking about putting here too. So first, let's do all things putting, and I want to help you actually make a decision yourself. You asked me, which putter should I be using?
I brought most of the putters that I own.
You have a lot. And I want to get into what that means. But
These are all game used, so at one point or another, these were all in play, in the bag, out on the golf course.
You're a real good putter, aren't you, Dave?
I go through streaks.
Of being bad and less than bad? Is that how that works?
Yeah. I mean, in my round that we talked about yesterday, my 77 from this weekend, I had 36 putts, one 3-putt, and then one birdie putt that I made from 12 feet, just like you should.
Okay,
right?
Gotcha. All right.
So
how are you from like 5 to 15 feet?
5 to 15.
Yesterday you weren't very good, but
yesterday I wasn't very good. I am normally missing more on direction. I would say than usually distance is fine, right? I usually get it to the hole, usually not leaving it short. Don't usually blow it way past or anything like that.
Okay. So starting line, you read the greens well, or
I feel like I read the greens well. I feel like I don't always start it on the exact line I've picked.
Yep. So then you're like a perfect candidate to better understand this. I see some left-handed putters in there though.
Yep. There's a lefty putter in there. There's a putter that can go both ways, and it has.
Okay. All right. Oh, where to begin, Dave? Well, let's start then. I can help you pick out which putter you should use, but hopefully by the time we're done talking here for 10 minutes, you'll be able to make a good decision, and so will you.
Great.
So let's start with this one. We'll start with MOI. That is moment of inertia. We talk mostly about that with long clubs because it matters when the ball goes really far.
Yeah.
Quick story on MOI. What that means is that it's really the club's resistance to twisting as you have off-center hits. The higher the MOI, the less the club twists, which makes it more forgiving. And typically it produces ball speeds that are more constant too. So first, if you're bad at golf and you're really struggling with distance control, trying just a really high MOI putter is a good start because the differences in your stroke and the inconsistencies on the hit won't show up as much on the distance side. Doesn't mean you're going to be a better putter, but it would be a logical story. So that might already go into some of what you need to know. Next part about that is how we can measure these and compare them because they're not all the same. So I've got Jack's putter, and when I say that, he won the '86 Masters with this exact type of putter from McGregor Response. Here it is on my chart of MOI. I've measured the offset for right now, we'll leave that alone, but we'll come back to it. 7262 is the total number, so it's just measured in grams per centimeter squared is the instrument there that we're going to use. So that right now would be an illegal driver. 6,000 or 7,000 is the limit with 6,000 with a driver, or wood-like shaped clubs. The rules don't really apply so much for putters, but this would be an illegal driver if you had it. And you can see relative to all the other numbers how much higher that is.
Right.
And then over here I've got the head weight. Okay. So what he did was he putted really well with this. Very forgiving putter. Did an awesome job with it. So his company, Golden Bear, the Jack Nicklaus made products, made one that was supposed to be a replica of that. Here's how that one worked. The Jack version, 6,093. You're down over 1,000 grams per centimeter squared in forgiveness. And I'll hand these to you. You tell me if you think those are any different whatsoever. I mean, aesthetically, how do they look? To me, they basically look exactly the same.
They look the same to me.
You keep investigating that, and I'll talk about why this is different. Next is the head weight. So the head weight on Jack's McGregor is actually 25-ish MOI or grams of head weight lighter. So now he's got a less forgiving putter just because of that. So the two things you can do are just add more mass or just have a far better design, move some weight to the outside of the club, and then there's your MOI or your forgiveness.
So I did find one difference. This one is longer heel to toe.
Okay, there you go. How much? Is it small?
Quarter inch.
Tiny amount. So between the size
amount for sure.
And that head weight, there's your difference. So if you want to have a higher MOI putter, something more forgiving, something heavier will work really well for that.
And based on where the quarter inch is, I'll assume more of the weight is beyond the golf ball because the shaft's aligned, the hossel's aligned next to the putters.
Yep. Now here is another example of that sort of story. Got a couple putters from Ping. This one is your Tine 4. On my list up here, it's got an MOI of 4772 and a head weight of 371. That is going to sound very eerily familiar to the Sigma 2, which is an answer style putter. And you've got about the same MOI and slightly lighter. So this is still a really good forgiving putter if you like the old school blade style or like the ping.
So far I don't have either of those, so I might be picking a few up.
No, here's where things have changed over time. So that's pretty constant amongst all the ping lines, and then really almost everything that's not severely high MOI, like we'll look at in the rest of their ping line, the new Heppler line that they have. This is what's changed over the years. So we've got a ping Redwood. This is only a couple years old, and then this is the one that I putt with the most often. They're pretty similar. It's an answer style putter. The one I have just doesn't have any lines. It's really old, super light. So the Redwood style now, which is made to replace the old school one I have, has got a 4369 MOI and a head weight of 343. That's how they've been going up here on this scale.
Right.
Well, mine, this lighter putter, doesn't even hit 300 on the scale. So this is a very unforgiving putter, yet I still really like it because I'm not mishitting too many putts, so the distance control out of that you would want for a really high MOI isn't really needed.
Right.
So the better you are at putting, there's another lesson for you. You can go super high MOI putters, like John Rahm just won last week with a spider putter, which is not too dissimilar to this one.
Yep. Really
high MOI, putted really well with that. All the way down to a super light putter that most people would grab off a rack and immediately put it back because it feels like it's just a little toothpick in their hands. So you have that piece. The putters that have also been somewhat interesting, I really like this Heppler putter line, and this isn't really meant to be too much of a commercial really for one particular brand, but I like that one a ton. They've done something with how they aim, plus the MOIs on these are approaching that 6,000 limit again, even on this blade style, like just like that ping answer that we looked at. So if you're a traditional blade style putter, you want a really high MOI putter, almost anywhere you hit it on the putter face there will give you almost the same result. And if you like a center shafted one, I really like this model here too. So they've done an awesome job. And the coolest thing I think they do altogether is the adjustable length shaft.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that in putters.
So you can fit yourself or walk right in to GOLFTEC and have a coach help you with that real quickly. So that's probably worth doing first before we jump back into some crazy ones, some crazy designs, and then also how the new Callaway line with the triple track ball works. So one of the big components of getting fit well for a putter is to know what sort of length you need and also how much to flex your elbows at address and how much to bend over. I have a pretty simple device here made by Eyeline, who they make some great putting aids, and then they've made some cool stuff for us. So set up to that ball that I've got there.
Do you want me to use this? Do you want me to use one of mine?
Use one of yours would be fine. Whichever one is really your gamer here.
I'll grab the one that's in the bag right now.
Okay.
And this is a
Ping Zing
that I've had for years and years and years.
Okay.
So the reason why I think I like it is shorter than normal, so we'll see if the length fits.
Yeah.
I like that it feels like the head's heavy, so I like to feel the club head.
Good.
Right.
That sounds good. Okay, so put that down like you would normally. Now you've got a mirror there that you can see in.
Yep.
Also, you can see right down that green line up to the mirror with the white vertical stripe on it.
Yep.
When you set up to this ball, a good place to start, especially if you're struggling with putting, is move yourself around so that the yellow line or the disappears into the white one. So you can't see those diverge at all.
So where I naturally set up, I definitely can see the yellow line. I can see, looking at the mirror, my eyes are inside the ball. So I have to get a little bit more over it, and now that line disappears.
Sure. So what you're really helping yourself do is that when you turn your head, like an apple on a stick, when you read a green, you actually are looking more down that target line that you're actually aiming at.
Right.
That's why that's a good start for if you're struggling with putting. Not everyone has to do that, and you might notice maybe your eyes are over the ball, maybe they're a little bit inside or outside. Which way did they err on that side?
When I got the line straight?
Yeah.
When I got the line straight, right there, they're
pretty much over it?
Pretty much over, maybe a quarter inch inside.
And that's fine. Depending on how you tilt your neck or turn your head a little bit, you can have that on a different line. So now when you go out and putt, you take that mirror, which can come apart from the rest of it, and set up with your eyes over the ball, practice putting that way. And there's so much, well, I think it's good to have this as a basic rule for how to stand over the ball.
Right.
It starts to give you some confidence to do the same thing over and over and over. That's the value, really, I think, of using a mirror to putt with. If you stand on the putting green, hit 30 putts, and your eyes are always over the ball, and you start to calibrate what that feels like, chances are you'll go to the golf course and you'll have that same sort of feel blended along with you.
So this is a fairly short putter. I don't even remember what it measures to, but how does putter length affect that? It seems like putter length would change where I stand at the golf ball.
Sure. So I didn't really see you choke down on that one or try to grab the end of the putter. But you either have to flex your elbows more, bend over more, or grab lower on the putter to make that work. So it's just really meant to be a way to help you pick the good putter length. I think that's fine. You just had to flex more from your pelvis to make that work. Good?
Good.
So any of those could work, but that length putter certainly isn't hurting you. As the putters get longer, you're more inclined to start standing further away.
Yep.
And then that line of looking straight down your putt,
probably gets way off.
The way I see you right now, starts to get more skewed.
Right.
So longer isn't helping you much. Other ones are this classic Wilson 8802.
I love that thing. That thing goes 150.
I've got another one that's very similar. Measured that one, 37.99, really low MOI, and the head weight's very light. So this is not going to help you very much on mishit shots. No surprise. There's an element of putting though that we haven't talked about, and that's the face balanced.
Yep.
So you've got a couple different ways to do this one here, producer Scott. You've got your toe hang, which is the amount that a putter, the toe of the club hangs relative to the heel. So you have face balanced. You know you've got a few of those.
There's a couple of those.
Yep. And then you have some amount of toe hang this way. The more toe hang you have, the more likely you are to open the putter face on the way back.
Yep.
And then there is an element of how you can close it more, but that opening on the backstroke makes it harder for you to have the club face more closed when you hit.
Yep.
So the more toe hang you have, the more you have a tendency for me to miss to the right.
So years ago,
players.
Tiger set the golf world ablaze by talking about how he releases his putter. Yeah. And it was a hot topic amongst all instructors. Is he doing that because of toe hang, or is that more of a technique that he does?
I think it's just what he's always done. So he does on the measurement programs I've seen have the most open club face and the most closure through the ball. It's unique. There aren't many people who putt well like that.
Gotcha.
So if you want, here's your next question. Do you normally miss to the right or to the left when you're out there?
Trying to think back to my round. Probably to the right.
Okay. So then out of those putter styles, which one potentially could help you more?
Well, if I was following what you were just saying, with a heavy toe hang putter like I've got here, I'm probably opening it too much and then probably not closing it.
You're going to have more of a tendency to push. Doesn't mean it's always going to be that way, but that wouldn't be my first choice.
I probably need to go to something more face balanced, possibly. You know, that one's perfectly face balanced, probably something like that.
That would be a good start, especially if you're just worried about missing to the right. If you don't want to miss to the right anymore, just having a face balanced putter is a better start than anything. Or aim more to the left. You pick. I don't care.
Okay.
Other ones that are really cool, the triple track putters and balls. I'm a big fan of these. Aiming the lines on the golf ball and the lines on the putter certainly are much easier to do. So this would be really good if you struggle with aiming, which sounds like it might be something that you're having a hard time with too. So for you, quite honestly, something even like this double wide or this one, which is the Marksman. Both of those would be interesting choices to use. So you're picking a putter more so on where your misses go at this point and understanding, do you want something that's forgiving or not?
Right.
The worse you are, the more forgiving you should have. I don't know if you're up for one of those mallets, but that wouldn't be a bad call either for you.
If it's free, I'll take it. Absolutely. Right. I mean, you can't ever have enough putters, can you?
Last one that's worth talking about? No, is the answer, except just use one or two. That's my best advice. I went into Brad Faxon's garage a couple of months ago, and I've seen it before, but he must have hundreds of putters in there. He still uses the same one he's always had.
Yep.
It's a lesson in there. Worst putter design ever. STX. Check that thing out. I say it's the worst, although it has an interesting design.
Cool.
It's shaft balanced, so that's interesting. But the MOI on that one is 1397, whereas I'm suggesting Jack's putter that he won with was 7,200. So whether you understand the scale of grams per centimeter squared or not, you know that's significantly lower. That putter weighs almost nothing.
Well,
and
the first thing I said when we grab my gamer right now is that I like the way that I can feel the club head.
Yeah, that's.
And I think I might feel the head more if I flipped it the other way.
Yeah, that is extremely light.
It's
and then
super light.
That
Holy
rubber
cow.
insert, nothing on that is flat anymore. So for you, Dave, couple all this together. You have the weight of the putter, you have the MOI or the forgiveness, you have the amount of toe hang, and then the length. I think you should just determine if you're struggling with putting. with a device like what we're using there. And you can get that lesson at any GOLFTEC. Now, if you're putting well, almost anything will work. I could grab my Ping Answer Scottsdale or grab any of the rest of these, and I don't feel like it would take me too long to adjust a little bit of my feel to putt well with all of them. Well, I really like that new Heppler Answer putter.
Yeah, and that's why I put this Scottsdale TR in the bag a couple years ago, is I felt like I needed something to help smooth the stroke out. I felt like my stroke was everywhere. And this is face balanced. It is also adjustable length. It's more of like the counterbalancing too, and it felt like it did a decent job of kind of getting me back to something a little bit more repeatable stroke.
So that, in theory, seems like a pretty reasonable step to try. Now, whether or not it worked for you, or you like the head design, or you aimed that really well, those are all the trial and error pieces that you should really have in a fitting, whether you putt underneath a laser or use this again.
Aesthetically, I've never loved the big club heads, but it's why it's the only one of that kind I have. But this one, I felt like it did a decent job at
that one in
back on track.
particular. I don't like the look of that one myself either. I do like that Heppler with the dotted lines, the hyphenated lines all the way down at the end. It's a similar concept, but a little cleaner looking, and black's always a good color to use when you're putting. It just adds such a dimension of difference relative to the green. So now we went through that. Out of all those putters, including the left-handed ones, and I know you're putting left-handed just because right-handed wasn't working, so you give it a shot.
It started back in high school, my junior year in high school. I played horribly. I was our #1 player on the team and just was super inconsistent. It was 100% putting. So over that summer, I grabbed my dad's bullseye, started putting left-handed with it. I do a lot of things ambidextrous, and putted well that summer. Played my entire senior year in high school with it. Putted lefty for a little bit longer. That eventually translated into a left-hand low grip, but with a right-handed putter. And then I've just always kept a bullseye and a lefty option, just because it's always been fairly reasonable.
So you're always tinkering, but I think what would have helped you in high school is probably an understanding of this, understanding of the tool on the ground, understanding of the face balanced or not. Then you probably could have made a good decision in high school, putted pretty well, never really got off the rails too much. You wouldn't have needed to tinker so much. It all
could have been a collegiate player, gone on tour. I wouldn't be working for GOLFTEC.
You wouldn't be here right now. Who would I be talking to?
The butterfly effect is unbelievable when you start talking about this type of stuff.
Well said. I hadn't even thought about that. So knowing what you know now, do you have a putter in there that probably makes more sense than another?
Based on everything you're talking about, it's probably this one. Just because I like the look of it, so aesthetically it makes sense. It is more face balanced, so that maybe can help get me straightened out. I forget the length on this. I know it's a little longer than my gamer right here, so maybe it needs cut down or something like that. This one's not adjustable, unfortunately, but probably of all of them, it's probably either this one, or I've always putted well with the bullseye. And it's you guys. I know you guys tested it, and it tested pretty well on MOI.
Yeah, for what I was expecting, it was much higher than that. So you could cut that down. The next step then would be to add some head weight to it. So whether that's lead tape or something in the shaft, that would make for an interesting experiment. I actually think trying some of these new Ping putters, those Heppler putters.
Or I was picking one out of the current lineup. Like I need more putters, but definitely. I guess this Kurt Curry's a little bit like the kind of traditional Answer design, but I've had a couple of these. I've always liked the Answer design, so. Might be something like that too.
I think that thing's awesome. I was shocked at mishitting that and how far the balls were still rolling, and it has such a soft feel. That's why I prefer the harder faces. That's another variable for speed control, which you said wasn't your problem. But the more you get an insert in it, like this STX putter is absurd, right? That is just a rubber face on that. The ball speed you get off of that is so slow. So if you rip everything past the hole, that might be okay. Any of these inserts, even like what Odyssey's making here, they're even putting some metal in there. It speeds up the face a touch relative to just having a really soft insert in it. If you want to have the fastest ball speeds, then the idea would be you just use metal.
Well, this has been relieving to know that it's not my fault.
Of course it's not your fault.
I gotta get a new putter.
You're not at home. Your wife's not yelling at you. It's not your fault. Not while you're here. You don't need a new putter, but now you can make a little better decision. But then every putter company, every OEM makes putters that are very similar in MOI and style and face balancing. So it's not like you have to have just the Ping Heppler. Callaway and Odyssey make a bunch of them just like that. So does TaylorMade. There's a putter for everybody in everyone's line. So then I would try a few different ones and see what you like. If you're a Ping guy and you've liked that over the years,
Ping's easier to
really
say.
Like
it's got adjustability. I mean, I feel like it's for me. I feel like
what's important is how easy it is to say. That's a good point to end on. So if you're not sure which putter to get, go with the one that's easiest to say.
There you go.
Next week, here's what I want to do next week.
What are we doing next time?
All right. I don't think we've talked about this yet, but Bryson DeChambeau.
We've talked about him.
Yeah, he's drinking 7 protein shakes a day.
Yes.
You and I are both going to do that someday this week and report back with how we feel next week.
So we're going to pick a day, and we're going to drink 7 protein shakes throughout that day?
Yep, throughout that day.
Just throughout the day, 7 protein shakes.
I'm only doing it one day, but 7 protein shakes. So look for that one on Tuesday.
Okay, we need to do the test on a Sunday. That way we can call off work and have a legit excuse on Monday.
Do you see producer Sabrina's face right now? You should get that. It's unbelievable.
You should get that, yeah.
Shock and awe settling in there. Sorry, that's what we do. Surprises.
7. We're going with 7.
Okay, so here we go. See you Tuesday.
See ya.